Okay, Supervisor Federici.
Here.
Councilman Fancher.
Here.
Councilwoman Mattice. Councilman Crabman.
Here.
Councilman Smith.
Here.
Carrie Sutton here. Rich Irwin.
Here.
Marie Stuber. Diane Williams. William Amen.
Okay. You can please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The first order of business will be the public hearing on local law number 1 that we discussed at the last meeting, and we agreed to set the public hearing to discuss or answer questions on that particular subject. And okay, on that, good. Bear with me. First thing I need is a motion to open the public hearing. So moved.
I'll second. Yeah, I'll
He
second.
beat you. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? No carry. Just as a refresher, this is something that's already been passed in many of the towns, some of the school districts, and in the county. And what it does is it gives a reduction on the assessment of those individuals in town that have a lower income. And so some of the examples are, there's 13 people who have an income under $15,000. And they would get a 50% reduction in their assessment. There are 2 people that have an income between $15,000 and $16,000. They would get a 45%. There are 2 people that have income between $17,000 and $18,000. They would get 2 of them. They would get a discount of 35%. And there are 20%. I'm sorry. There's 1 person who makes under $20,700 who will get a discount of 20% off of their assessment. It's an 18 in total. This is not new. These are the people that are already under the local law that was passed back in the day, I think it was 2004, by the town of Conesville. So we're not introducing, in fact, it goes all the way back. There's been various changes to 1984 that the town has been doing this. So this is more or less a good thing to do, but it's not anything new that the town is doing. So in that case, I'll throw it open to questions or comments by board members or the public. Leave it down the door, son.
I got nothing.
It's negligible, the impact to the rest of the town in terms of our taxes. What I would like to suggest then that we do, just so we can keep the public hearing open, we will later on in the meeting vote to close the public hearing, and if the board is so inclined, make a motion to vote on the local law. Okay? All right. The next thing is privilege of the floor.
There was nobody signed up on the sheet, but I know a couple people came in at the last minute. So if anybody was prepared to request privilege of the floor and did not sign up, speak now or forever hold your peace.
Would that be inquiries on the roads in the town, or?
Yes. If you wish to speak, please, Rod, if you could, so we can identify
Please state your
yourself
name.
and so we know who you are.
Hi, I'm Jack Kasurian. Had a home here for 16 years. Live up on Briggs, and the road's in disarray. It really hasn't been repaired in a long time. A lot of ruts, and there's one section where it's cutting out, and eventually, I mean, you could lose a wheel in there, but it's going to slide off the mountain, which has happened in the past, probably about 10 years ago. And that was, I guess, you probably had to fill a lot of dirt and grade. And, well, it's gonna happen again if, you know, if it doesn't get maintained. It hasn't been graded probably in 10 years. So I can remember my first 6, 7 years, they would come down and every year, every 2 years, they would regrade courtesy cuts, I remember. And
What's a courtesy cut?
like they would cut like the side of the grasses and stuff like that
Okay.
on the side of the roads and stuff. But you know, at least minimum the last 8 years, they really haven't really addressed it. I've taken some stones, raked them up, put them in 5-gallon pails, and filled up potholes and tampered them down on the equipment. So, and I just was wondering when the town might be looking at Briggs Road to repair it.
He's not here tonight, but I've talked to him several times a week about what he's working on and what the plans are. So I'm not going to tell you I'm speaking for him, but I'm going to tell you what my knowledge is. We are directing a lot of our attention, meaning the town highway department, on dirt roads as soon as they wrap up, and it will, hopefully it doesn't keep raining, wrap up the resurfacing on South Mountain Road. Then the attention will be Briggs Road, and obviously they're going to focus where the most need is in terms of people that are affected and roads that are in need of the most attention. So that will be, for the most part, barring bad weather or something like that, that will be the attention that they're going to be placing with the crew. Now, we are also very short-handed, which is everywhere. We're doing the best we can with what we have. That's the honest answer.
Okay. I mean, you think that's going to be addressed this year, this road? I mean, or?
I cannot answer that, okay? I cannot. That's something the highway super works with in terms of setting his priorities.
Yeah, I mean, recently I kind of ran into him up at the top of the road. They were cleaning a tree out of Clayton Buell's home. It kind of broke in a storm, and they, I guess, removed it. And it didn't seem like there was any urgency for the road. He kind of just, you know, kind of brushed it off, almost like, oh, there's worse. You know.
Okay.
And I'm trying to prevent before where it's cut into the road and cut back, before it slides down the, I mean, it's kind of a narrow road there anyhow, and before it tumbles down the mountain again, and it'll need a lot of work. So, but there's a lot of ruts, and you know, it's one thing for a truck to go up it, and it's another thing for a car to go up it. You know, so anyhow, is there something I should maybe go speak to him again, or just you?
Well, I'm certainly going to share it with Bill when he gets back, yes. And I'll suggest that he give you a call or go see you.
Okay. Should I write my name and number over there? Okay.
Yeah, if you could give it, I got you down, did I say this right? Jack Kasarian?
Jasurian.
Jasurian,
Yeah.
pretty close. You better tell him. Better tell him.
Thank you. Yeah, I even have problems with it.
Then you're making me feel a whole lot better about it. Is there anybody else who has anything that they want to bring up as privilege of the floor before we move on? Okay. The next thing, though, are the minutes that the board members have copies of. It's the August 8th minutes in draft form. They were sent out several weeks ago, so I'm sure you had time to look at it in great detail.
I'll make the motion to accept it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried.
I'm sorry, who made the motion and who did?
Kelly
Kelly.
Carr.
Kelly Carr.
Assessor's report. Oh, let's finish that.
Okay, so, assessor's report. Good evening. Since last month's report, I did take vacation time. Last month I had a meeting with the state tax department, town of Broome assessor Bob Brigalow, Mark Loss, and county real property to discuss the reevaluation for the town. We are meeting again on Friday of this week to look at vacant land sales and what could possible change may be needed. The residential properties are still being looked at. I am currently attending a data collection class this week, Monday through Wednesday, that the county and state are teaching to allow the assessors and the new data collector employees to understand the process of collection. The assessors and collectors need to be in unison on this process. Thank you, Lauren Stuber.
Okay. A motion to accept the assessor's report.
I'll make the motion.
Bob makes it, second by Carl, all in favor?
I don't even have a sign.
Any opposed? Karen? Rich, you're on, code enforcement. Code enforcement. I said investment.
Let's see, so as far as what's going on, it's been pretty steady and actually pretty busy. Have you guys had a chance? I know you and I spoke a little bit, Bill, about the classifications, it's the fee schedule, but
Get out of my office. Go, yeah, all right. Go to the end of the hall. No, I got confidential.
Oh, sorry.
We weren't looking at anything. We're just trading numbers.
Go ahead. Hey, I was wondering if, I know you and I spoke a little just on the different categories and classifications of the, it's called fee schedule, but more the classifications of things. Have we had any, I know you and I were going to speak about that.
Yes.
Anything else going on?
No, it's just that I haven't had the chance to sit with you.
Okay, so I
And
just
then
wanted to
present
touch
to the
base
board.
with that.
Oh, no, that's
Yeah.
I like to do.
Okay. Yep, so working on that, pending the board's review and either amending, changing it, or whatever. We have 40 open building permits, a couple were closed and a couple new ones came through. Actually received 2 applications today to be processed. Currently 3 active enforcements, and just today I saw a 4th one that I'll be working on. And we closed out a couple, like I said, with certificate of occupancies or certificate of compliance. One renewal and another one came in today. So really just, things are steady.
Well, that's all right. That's good.
Yeah,
That's good.
Yeah, it's definitely a busy little town. A lot going on.
You would think that the population or the census would reflect that, but it doesn't. And I talking to a few other people who have the same job as I do, they have their doubts about the accuracy. Because all of them feel there's been a big influx of folks since COVID.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You wouldn't show it, doesn't show it though. I don't know why.
Yeah, because that's, is that yearly?
No, there was the stake in the ground as of April 1st, so that could show it.
Oh.
But we have more people, in my opinion,
Yeah.
that are here than the census would indicate.
Yeah.
They do send out periodic updates, but those are best guess estimates anyway, by deaths and births, and there's no births here, but
Yeah, there's a lot of what I would have called a couple years ago seasonal or part-time,
Right.
that are now full-time.
yes,
So much more active
yes.
part-time.
Mhm.
So,
Okay. Well,
of
thank
course,
you.
I'm always reachable. If anybody has any questions or problems, then reach right out and we'll take care of it.
Okay. Thank you, Rich.
I'll make the motion we accept his report.
Second. Motion from Kelly, second from Bob, all in favor? Any opposed? Carried.
Okay, so pretty easy. We had 1 dog license renewal this month, and it's the busy season for selling hunting licenses. We've sold 11.
Okay. Make a motion, please.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Tax collector's report. Really nothing to report, but. Sewer district operators report from Travis Castle.
Okay, so for the month of August, the daily flow rate was 2,572 gallons a day. They started to receive items that were ordered for the wastewater treatment plant. They're in the process of scheduling the annual generator service with Hensley. They completed and submitted the 2021 reconciliation. All parties have been emailed a copy. There was an alarm call at the main pump station on August 29th. Number 2 tripped and had to be reset and monitored, but there has not been any issues with it since then. They reached out to local septic haulers for price per gallon for pumped wastewater for budgeting purposes for the upcoming year. I know they had to have one of those when they jetted the lines that time, so I think that's why he's trying to call for that as well. So if there are any questions, he says to reach out and let him know.
Okay. Travis is in the process of getting, he's got one quote. The way they calculate it would be, because we're going to do a third of all the tanks, pumping them out every 3 years, or over a period of 3 years. And it's averaging about, that comes out to about, I think he said 5,700 gallons. And he's getting 2 more quotes because we have to do that, but that's going to be added to the budget. And we got to get that quick because it gets, we go through our budget process, but DEP, you have to get their blessing on it too, because they're the ones who are funding 90% of what we do. So, all right. Anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make it.
Thank you, Kelly.
I'll second.
Bob seconds it. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? So carried. Our favorite historian.
I just wrote down 4 things. Okay. I presented at the senior citizens in August at their monthly meeting. I did about a half hour, 40 minutes of lecture about various things associated with Conesville. This September 21st or 20th, I'm attending a conference for the New York State Public Historians, and Sean continues work in the cemetery. Do you have any updates on that, Sean?
We have restored about 12 or 13 headstones, Frank and myself, and whenever I get back to it, we'll continue with it until we get her.
Very much
Yeah,
appreciated.
Looks very good. Nice job. And then the Historical Society just had a meeting. I have extra copies of this, so I'll just hand it out. And we just kind of have been working on a vision. The back shows you what activities we've been doing and where we plan to go. And the typed section is just our vision for the space and how we want to operate. At the Couchman House, it's like all flexible, right? We're thinking about how we see our use of our space in that building, and we will continue conversations with the town about that. Yeah, I think we're being very productive. And we helped clean out the Couchman House for the 2nd time this past weekend. We had lots of help both times, and we got rid of lots of stuff. And it's looking really good in there.
Say something. I'm going to cover it.
I figured.
But if you mentioned,
I don't want to steal it all.
You pulled all the rugs up. You mentioned. Go ahead. Tell them about the floor.
The wood floors are beautiful in there. They're in really good shape in most of the building. So all of the main rooms, when you pulled up the floor, the carpet, you can see the original floor. Some of it's painted a little bit, but I think it's going to look really good when we're done.
Yeah.
They can be refinished.
Oh, yeah, they're nice.
Yeah, refinish them, they look great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and back in the day, though, oak wasn't the one thing that was in, especially around here, because there wasn't a lot of oak. It's mostly all hemlock, which I understand, talking to people, was common at that time. But they hold up really well.
Yeah.
And they'll have some nice grain to them once we get everything done.
And it's exciting to see the progress over there.
Mm-hmm.
How we went from being a building full of stuff to now a really workable space. And all the people coming together to help with that.
Yeah.
If I can, really quick, because I don't think since the last meeting, I know some of you probably know, the Historical Society received a grant.
Oh, yeah, the $20,000 grant from Nick Juria to be put towards the building and kind of startup funds for historic preservation over there. And he, at the time, was open to giving more money in the future once we had some concrete plans. Also exciting.
Outstanding.
Excellent.
Very good.
And we're looking for new members always, so Carrie has applications.
It's only
here all the
$10,
time.
come on, pony up, or 15 for you and your spouse. Thank you. Okay, can we get a motion to accept the historian's report, please?
I'll make a motion.
Carl
Second.
and Kelly. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So carried. Now, Bill left you a superintendent's report.
We did. He said the major news is the initial coal patch paving of South Mountain Road. The plan is to be finished with the road around the middle of this month. Highway Department replaced or repaired almost 20 culverts and cross culverts along the road, which were bent, rotted, or clogged. He said he would like to recognize the following individuals and towns who were able to help with the project. Elbert Construction, towns of Gilboa, Prattsville, Broome, Jefferson, Blenheim, and Wyndham all helped out with that project in some way, shape, or form. The gutters on the town garage have been replaced, and the auction for the old trailer went very well. The netting price was $7,800, which was very good. Our only brush mower has suffered a major structural failure and has been put out of service for good. I'm in discussions with the town board about replacing the tractor and mower with a John Deere unit and a Diamond mower for next year. At a minimum, there are 6 to 7 unpaved roads throughout the town that need significant upgrades in the very near future before winter. Moving forward, this will be a great challenge for the highway department and may require some out-of-the-box thinking. Bill Amen.
Thank you. And he's right about that, but we'll do everything we can with what we have. Okay. Motion to accept the highway super's report?
I'll make a motion.
Bob makes the motion.
I'll second it.
Carl seconds it. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. I don't have a big county report, really, I don't. You guys get looking at your watch and see how long I can go. The only thing I'll share, because it's something everybody's facing, the budget process there as well as here is underway, and there's significant challenges because of inflation and fuel, yada yada. But it's true. I mean, it's not. I don't mean to minimize it with the yada yadas, but I don't know what. I just talked to a couple of people today, and we're looking at like double-digit tax increase if we don't do something radical, which we may have to do. That's all I have about the county. All right, let's move on to town business. You have the July 2022 financial report. You have a copy of it there. If you have any comments or questions, we can do that now. If there aren't any, I'll entertain a motion to accept the report.
I'll make the motion, we accept it.
Okay, there's a second from Bob. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Along the lines of budget, we have a budget resolution here. And that is for, this is for changes that you have a copy of there. Primarily, it is just to do some housekeeping and move some funds around and reflect some additional interest that we've earned in a couple of our night class accounts, and to increase the budget line on a couple of items in the general account that came up, and that was being covered through the contingency dollars, $1,850 worth that we put aside for these kinds of circumstances. Interest, because obviously highway has a lot more funds than the rest of the town combined, and they're earning a lot more interest than we originally thought, because when we put this budget together a year ago, interest rates were like 0.0 something, and now they're actually up to about 1.6, 1.7. And that makes a big difference. That's all I have on that. We need to do, if anybody doesn't have any objections, we need to do a roll call vote.
Supervisor Federici?
Yes, I can't say aye. All right, aye.
Aye, Captain. Councilman Fancher?
Aye.
Councilwoman Matthijs? Councilman Proudman?
Aye.
Councilman Smith?
Aye.
Okay, thank you for that. We do have something here, we have fuel bid next on here, but I did insert this after the agenda edition went out, so I would like to do this now, but this is going to require a little bit of discussion, if I may. Bill had mentioned in his highway superintendent's report that the mower had structural damage, major failure. And the tractor that it works on is seeing better days. So I've been talking to Bill quite a bit about what the alternatives are. And this came up, I think, at the last meeting. And they were looking at a John Deere tractor, but they've changed their mind on that. Now they want a New Holland. Anyway, this would require, I mean, we don't want to borrow money, not in this environment, or get another bond anticipation note. We already have one, that's enough. But this would require a use of our capital equipment account, a reserve account that we've established several years ago. We've built up enough money in there, plus we have funds in the current budget to supplement that. And this is the kind of things that the reserve account envisions that you just wouldn't necessarily buy without saving up or borrowing. I don't think we want to borrow. So what I need for the clerk to do is to read the resolution. I put it on your desk. Now I got a copy. One subject, a permissive referendum, and then I'll explain what that's all about after Carrie reads it.
Resolution subject to permissive referendum to appoint and appropriate and withdraw monies from the reserve account established for highway capital equipment for the purchase of tractor and attached mowing equipment. At a meeting the Conesville Town Board held at the Conesville Town Hall, 1306 State Route 990V, in the town of Conesville on the 12th day of September 2022 at 7 p.m. William A. Federici offered the following resolution and moved its adoption. Kelly Smith seconded the following resolution. Whereas this is a specific need to replace a no longer serviceable tractor and mowing attachment used to mow along town roads and for other highway uses, and whereas by prior action, the Conesville Town Board Highway Budget line D5130.2 was created for Highway Capital Equipment Reserve, the purpose for its creation to incur funds towards the purchase of capital equipment for the Highway Department. And whereas the Town Board has determined there are sufficient funds in the established Highway Capital Equipment Reserve account, therefore, be it resolved that the Town of Conesville Board authorizes the Conesville Highway Superintendent to use $172,727.31 of Highway Capital Equipment Reserve Fund to purchase a New Holland TS6 110 cab four-wheel drive tractor with an Almo boom mower. Further resolved that this resolution shall take effect 30 days after its adoption, and further resolved that within 10 days from that date of the date of passage of this resolution, the town clerk shall cause to be published a notice which shall set forth the date of the adoption of this resolution, shall contain an abstract of such resolution concisely setting forth for the purpose and effect thereof, shall specify that the resolution was adopted subject to permissive referendum and shall publish such notice in official town newspaper, the Mountain Eagle, a newspaper published in Schoharie County and or having general circulation in the town of Conesville, and in addition thereto, that the town shall post on the town bulletin board and website a copy of such notices within 10 days and after that date of the adoption of the resolution. The following vote was taken in the.
No, we're gonna vote yet. We need to talk about it. Before we get into the equipment itself, if you recall, when we sold the firehouse next door, the old firehouse, and when we bought the Couchman house, those were both transactions that were subject to permissive referendum. Specifically, the way it would apply to the town of Conesville based on our population, it would be 5% of the people that voted in the last gubernatorial election, or 25 persons, which is ever greater. So in our case, like the other two, 25 folks would, if we pass this, would have to put together, and have to be registered voters, would have to put together a resolution, or I'm sorry, a petition stating that they would like this to be submitted to the voters of the town, qualified voters, people who are registered. And we would have to set up a referendum to do just that, permissive referendum. And be subject to the results of that. But if we don't get 25 persons coming in, I think it's within 30 days, we can move forward, if indeed the board has decided this is what they want to do. Speaking for myself, I mean, I'm no expert on equipment like tractors and Alamo mowers and things like that, so I do rely on the judgment of the highway superintendent. And this is a New York State, OGS, it even gives a contract number here. So I am not that, I think it's an 8% discount, some of the paperwork that I had seen off the list price, which is a pretty good deal. But we're also told, 13%? 15. Oh, 15, okay, thank you. Makes it an even better deal. I don't know what else to add because we can't do it. I guess we could find another piece of equipment. In the past, our plan or the way we did these things was to buy used equipment. And we've gotten away from that, and I can tell you, yeah, we have breakdowns, we have repairs, sure we do. Tough work that these guys do. But we are much better placed than buying somebody else's headache from the past. And even if it looks good, it's still aged, and we use this track, used and abused. So anything that makes their job easier while avoiding a lot of other costs, but they use this equipment quite a bit this time of the year. Doesn't you use it as much in the winter? No, but they do have certain uses for it. You don't have to keep the boom mower on it all the time. We did have, what was the name of the other mower, that kind of mower that made the trees look like a hand grenade was thrown?
The flail.
The flail mower, that
Well,
died.
that's on there too.
Where?
We've got that swivel head on.
Oh, the swivel head?
The
That's
axe cut and swivel.
okay, is that
The
what?
flail, axe cut,
Yep. I don't like it myself,
push
but.
cutter swivel,
Mhm. And the factory mounting.
and the rotary blade.
Okay.
Yeah, that, the 15% discount is on the
Mower.
attachments.
Right.
The tractor itself actually has a 27% off.
Yep. Yep.
So if you or I walked in, well, sometimes I wonder about these discounts. I mean, that doesn't mean that if you or I walk in, we're gonna pay full list. But I guess it means something that they're gonna get cash and they're not gonna have to worry about the town running out on them.
The state does the ordering for us.
Sometimes the state doesn't do a very good job. I've seen a 1% discount on our Ford F-550s, and we got a 7%. Comments, questions? I think it's something we really need. But I'm just one out of four
And again,
people here.
we're replacing an old beat up piece of equipment with a nice new piece again.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why we're saving the money, so we can stop buying used stuff that breaks down and has to be repaired every time we turn around. That's why we're putting a piece of new equipment there, and as long as we keep the right people using it, it should last a long time.
Right. We used to have a,
And it's properly maintained continuously instead of
Yeah.
buying somebody else's worn out.
well, remember when we were renting it once a year from somebody
Yeah.
here in town? And when we picked it up, there was always several $100s worth of work that needed to be done before it was serviceable. And we always picked it up. If we have to, by the way, this comes with a 3-year warranty.
Yeah. That's why we're saving the money.
Comments?
Need a motion?
No, actually, we already have the resolution that I made and seconded it, so I want to make sure everybody's in agreement that, not to say they're for or against it, but we can do a vote if they don't have any further questions or comments. So all right, I make a motion we vote on it. How's that? I need a second. Okay. Kelly was a little faster. Okay, if you would take the roll call, please.
This one did not have a roll call attached to it, but I can.
No, it's at the bottom of the page.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, it did. I apologize. Councilman Fancher?
Yep.
Supervisor Federici?
Yes.
Councilwoman Matthijs? Councilman Broadman?
Yeah.
Councilman Smith?
Yes.
Okay. Now, this isn't a done deal, obviously. We have to go through the permissive referendum process. Okay. Moving along. How many bids do we have?
2. We had 3 envelopes, but one of them was a return to sender, so we have a bid from Sunrise and a bid from Maine.
Suburban Return to Sender. They advertised, went on their website, contacted us. I contacted them, sent it to their address, and it came back. No mail receptacle.
Yeah. All right, so this is the bill from Maine Care, or the bid, sorry, from Maine Care. Town of Conesville fuel bid 2022-2023 pricing for petroleum is based on total of JOC Albany average tank car reseller price. Heating oil, okay, do you want me to read the gallons and averages?
No, we have those here. I mean, just the cost per,
Okay.
over the rack price, I think they call
So
it.
delivered price for heating oil, they're saying $3.81, gasoline 87 octane.
Oh, that price was for the gas or
The
the?
heating oil was $3.81.
And they're gonna lock it in?
This is what they're saying based on the current averages as of 8/17.
They give you a discount off rack to get today's price at $3.81?
I'm not seeing where it says anything about this. It says pricing for propane. What's propane? Let's see. Nope, that's the fuel bid notice. I'm not seeing where it's stating specifically that this is a locked price.
And they're no good to us. Well, let's see what they read them out, and then we'll have to sort that out now.
Heating oil, 3.81, gasoline, 87 octane, 3.36, diesel, 392, and 70/30 blend diesel, 392. Pricing for propane will be based on the total of pipeline Selkirk listed at the daily JOC publication. And that is listed at 196.
Currently.
as of
Propane,
8/17. I will pass these over in a minute.
For the regular diesel and the 70/30 blend diesel,
Same
both
price.
the same price.
What do you think?
I know it's blended.
You know it's one?
I know it is.
Okay.
Because I blend it and deliver it to their tank.
Good man.
Question why it's the same price.
I don't, that's not up to me, that's up to them.
Okay, so Sunrise Heating Fuel, we hereby submit specifications for the following. To provide up to 5,000 gallons of LP to the town of Conesville garage and sewer plant locations. Propane will be delivered to customer supplied tanks. Propane will be delivered at a fixed rate of $1.95 a gallon starting on or after October 1st, 2022 and ending no sooner than September 30th, 2023.
That's it? No, they only want to sell propane.
Only propane. I'll bring these over.
The fact that it's, I'm okay, they say it's fixed, and that these guys are gonna say it was fixed, but it doesn't sound that way. Obviously, we're,
Especially the way the price has been going, you know.
yeah, you're right. Anything can happen over
Like right now it's dropping, but
They say if they have a real cold winter in Europe because they can't get supply, that's going to affect the price here?
Yeah, there's a differential on here for all of,
Oh, on the others?
all main carriage, yeah.
Can you read them?
Yeah, the heating oil is 22.5 cents above Albany rack.
Mm-hmm.
Gasoline, 29 cents above rack. Diesel, 22.5 over rack. And diesel, 70/30 blend, 22.5 over rack. The reason they're the same price today is because today's price is the same for straight diesel or blend.
Okay.
And propane is at 57.5 over rack.
So how does that translate out to what it translate out to, we know? Because they get, Sunrise gave a quote of $1.95.
Today's price would be 196,
Oh, okay.
but that will fluctuate, same as the distillates.
Right.
Whatever the Selkirk rack is.
Yeah.
Propane.
That's what I've been
yeah,
doing.
same way with the Albany rack, so.
Yeah,
I mean,
All the same.
whatever, they're right there. All right, what was the, say that again for propane? I'm sorry. The,
it's 57.5 over rack.
57.5.
okay.
Where if Sunrise got you fixed.
Now, I guess the question is, do we want fixed? I mean, it's nice to have all one supplier, but on the other hand, sometimes it's nice to have somebody on the bench for the rest of the stuff, if you give them one of the commodities.
Thing is, the only other thing you're gonna get from Sunrise is maybe heating oil, that's it.
That's fine.
They didn't put the bid in though.
Who?
No,
Who?
Sunrise.
Yeah. They see the handwriting on the wall.
Well, I also asked one or two others I knew weren't gonna give me a bid, but I figured if they were local guys, I would
I mean,
give the courtesy of asking.
the only bid we have is main care for fuel oil, gas and stuff.
Yep.
Now, is that price, I'd have to look at last year's.
I think
But they're in a
they were
position-
all the same, not the same price, but it was the same thing, it was a certain percentage over rack.
Right.
For no matter what it
What I'm
was.
trying to see if last year if it was, what that was over rack. But we're not in the strongest position in the
I
world
think last
either.
year it was right around 21 or 22%. So,
Was there a maximum gallon on the propane from Sunrise?
You mean that they would cover?
5,000 gallons, I think.
We had deliveries last year, or of the 12 months ending March 3rd, no, where is it? Ending July 31st, I believe it was. 8 deliveries of propane totaling 4,400 gallons to the highway garage, and 2 deliveries of propane totaling 600
Yeah, on
gallons.
their bid, they had a gallon.
They got 5,000 gallons,
Right.
up to 5,000 for that price.
Yeah.
So what they're saying is if you're gonna ask for more, you gotta pay more?
Yep,
Yep,
that's what,
they could,
Probably whatever the rate is at the time you go over 5,000
right.
is how that would work.
that's what happened to us at the school.
That might be a go back to them and tell them, hey, you know, you're basing it on the usage for 2022, in which we just had started up the
Right,
sewer
right.
plant. So we may need to add more gallons to that.
I think what these guys do, if they're big, main care is pretty big, they go out and negotiate futures so they can know they're locking it in. So I can understand where they're coming with 5,000 gallons, because that's what we told them we were going to get. But I would like to go back to them and say, all right, I understand that. But if you want to lock that in, put a limit on it, it's got to be more than 5,000 gallons. Give us a deal. Not, you know, maybe 5,500 gallons or something like that. Or 6,000 gallons. By the way, the fuel oil, I wouldn't get too upset about because we're not going to be burning much of that these days, this winter with those 2 new split systems that we have. That'll be more of a backup.
Now, the main care don't have any
What?
limit, 5,000.
No.
No, they don't have one.
They don't have a limit because they have a differential. So,
Right.
you know, whatever it is at the rack at that time, plus the 20, or plus the 57.5.
I know, you know, we're not professional investors here or futures people or commodities dealers, but, so I'm not so sure we're in a position to say, we know it's gonna go down, we don't know it's gonna go up, particularly with propane, or diesel.
Rack price on propane has stayed pretty stable. It hasn't fluctuated like gasoline, heating fuel. It's stayed pretty stable for the last 12 months. So I don't expect to see a large change there.
I'm okay with going main care, they've been pretty good to us. I mean, especially when we put in the propane tanks over at the highway garage and over at the, we actually made the deal with them last year, which was, we have no idea what our consumption's going to be. So if you work with us, we'll give you that work for a year. So we have some volumes. Keep in mind, you will be competing against other folks, and they agreed to that. And when we were putting in, well, Highway's not here, but when we were putting in the equipment, they worked very close with us. They're a good outfit. Sunrise is kind of like Sunrise. Disappointed, but, you know, do they still do the propane over at the firehouse?
Yeah.
The only memory of Sunrise was we had a pancake breakfast starting at 8 o'clock and ran out of propane at 7:30.
I remember that.
Yeah, and they were there in 45 minutes on a Sunday morning. Yeah, you remember that?
Yep. My bacon wasn't cooking.
My inclination would be to go with Sunrise on the propane, and we'll accept main care for the rest.
We may need propane at the garage, where we are right now too. I mean, we gotta keep that in mind if we're gonna keep some heat on in there.
Oh, you mean if, once you guys, yeah, barely, but yes, I don't, yeah.
Because, you know, there's water in there.
That's in the gallons though that we've already figured, right?
No,
No,
because
they're
the
paying
school's
for
not
it.
paying for it.
We probably want to get those gallons and add them on to here and see if Chris out of Sunrise would be willing to up those gallons. Do you use a lot, do you know?
Office there.
Do you know if you used a lot up there or not?
Quite a bit, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not the most insulated space in the world.
I mean, it's not terrible.
I can't remember her name at the office. Heather. I'll call Heather and say, I need you to tell us what the, well, or give me copies of your bills. I know they're planned, by the way, they October 1st, you're not getting out of there by October 1st.
No, I don't.
But it's coming.
I don't even think
You guys are gonna be moving at some point. I mean, it's not gonna be another year, I doubt it.
No. Hopefully by first,
Are they gonna jury rig something up like they promised?
but no, the electric's supposed to be going in pretty quick now.
All right. Well, then we need those numbers. I can get those, Heather.
Yeah, I would get them and then just go back to Chris over at Sunrise and tell him, you know, there's more than 5,000 gallons because we have another location and then we just did the startup on the sewer plant. So those locations at the sewer
What
plants,
about the house over here?
We're gonna need
heating
We're gonna talk about that.
that.
But it needs a new heating system. My inclination is everybody's gonna go that way sooner or later, and there's dollars that you can get towards it. It's the same system that we just put in here under the JCAP grant. Everybody's going, and besides, the state is busting horns
Do you
big
still
time.
need a backup? Like, with those?
We do, we're not getting rid of the oil.
I know, but
Yeah,
I'm talking about
over
over
there,
the
you
other.
know, that's not, it's a multi-fuel burner that's,
I know, but if we put in a propane furnace over there, that's more propane we gotta include in here.
right, but I don't see that happening probably before the end of this winter.
Okay.
I mean, there's some other things I'm gonna talk about that we need to do over there first. And that's a big investment, I would think. I mean, the net cost to the town was like take away the $4,300 at the state.
it's a little over 20.
Yeah, in that neighborhood, for just this. I know it would be more over there, obviously, I don't know how many units you would need and how many what do they call those things on the top?
You could put one in the attic and pipe it down to those second floor rooms.
You mean out on the outside?
Yeah, instead of, here they put on two sides, over
Mhm.
there, I think they could put one in the attic, correct me if I'm wrong, Kelly, but I think they could place one in the attic.
The condenser?
Yeah.
No, you wouldn't want to put it inside. No,
'Cause that's what
they
they were-
drain.
Okay, because that was what the guys were saying was, you know, they could put it up and,
You could put a system up there, you wouldn't put one of these up there.
the
The
system.
condenser from outside, yeah, that needs to be outdoors.
Okay, yeah, they were saying that they could put them in the attic and,
I know Jesse was saying about running the wiring back to the boxes, he's gonna run them upstairs so we don't see them from where they're coming. That's he definitely is going to work out of the attic, but that would just be the wiring.
no, they were talking about the condensers, but
Really?
Who?
the kids that installed it. They
Now I'm
said-
losing confidence.
They were saying
They did.
in buildings and things where they do multiple floors, they will often put them in the attic.
You can put the indoor units in the attic. They make some that are ducted that you can put in the attic and duct out somewheres. But I've never seen a condenser put indoors with the exception of 2 basements I've been in that have condensers in them, but
Did they run them to a drain or a sump
Yeah.
pump or
no, they're
something?
sitting on a dirt floor that it just drains. I've been in basements where the septic runs the same way, so it's,
Okay.
but
I know what you're
it's
talking
not
about.
something I'd recommend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let me just recap then. What we're suggesting is we'll go to main care, tell them they're all good on all these prices, on the 4 commodities, except the propane, which is ironic, because that's what we started them off on, and go to Sunrise and say, we'll take your $1.95, but we anticipate having a greater volume. And that's not gonna be the same volume that you did, because it was occupied space.
You'll keep the heat lower.
Yeah.
Now, they're guaranteeing that $1.95 without nothing over rack.
Without a
Yeah,
difference.
that's what it says. It says October 1st through September 30th of next year, delivered at a fixed rate of $1.95.
Nice for budgeting.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, that's hard to believe,
Yeah, that's,
because even though propane has been very stable the last 12 months, it does go up in the wintertime.
yeah,
You know, it has a tendency to follow
fuel.
the fuel cost.
But maybe they're locking in it on futures market.
That's what I'm guessing, that's,
Well, that-
that's what they're gonna do, is buy that 5,000 gallons, that's when you need to go back and tell them, okay, we need to up this to 6,500, and then, you know, they can buy the extra.
Well, probably propane they can get
A lot
out
of,
of futures.
yeah, a lot of times what they'll do is they'll put that in your contract, is, okay, you're buying 6,500 gallons from us at that price.
Mhm.
You know, they didn't do it with the municipality here, but a lot of times we would do that when I was bidding. Is I would say, okay, you tell me you're gonna buy 6,000 gallons from me this year, I can give it to you at XXX per gallon.
Mhm.
But if you only buy 5,200, guess what? You're buying the other 800. If you only use 5,200.
I'll let them bring that up.
Yeah, so don't be surprised if they do, because that's common practice.
Can I turn around and sell that to somebody else? I mean, give it to me, I'll deliver it, direct them to some other place.
That's
No.
not the way that works.
Well, I'm just trying to, you know.
Not the way that works. No, but they'll probably negotiate with you and say, okay, you know,
Well, then maybe we do a little, if they try that, then we maybe don't go to 6,500, man. I'd rather take my chances on the other end.
yeah,
Whatever.
that's fine. The only thing is you'll pay whatever rack price is.
At that
Yeah.
time.
Well, that's
If
what we're
next
expecting to do anyway.
Yeah, if next September you need to buy, you know, 2 tankfuls of propane,
Mhm.
whatever the price is, next September is what you pay for it.
Right.
You won't be at $1.95.
Provided we're over the 5,000
Yeah,
or whatever.
But we're
was
committing,
right.
but that, I want to see that in writing, but we're committing to feed, if it's,
yeah.
we're committing to buy
To
X
provide
amount.
up to 5,000
Up to.
gallons. So you tell them, hey, we think we're gonna use more than that because it's a new sewer system that we've just installed these 2 tanks at, and, you know,
We're including. the
we're
bus garage.
including the old bus garage, or the bus garage, which was the old town building,
Which is the old.
that we're gonna need once the school
Right.
moves out.
Mhm.
And,
And I can ask Heather for that, she has all the numbers. Over in the business office at the school. Heather Cunningham, that's it.
and at that point, they'll probably just change the gallons on that bid and give you the same bid right back.
Okay, well, that'll be part of negotiations, but do I have the okay from the board to go talk to, or give the business to main care based on what they gave us, except for the propane?
Yeah.
Okay, need a motion on that.
I'll make a motion.
Carl makes the
I'll
motion.
second.
Seconded by Bob, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. And a motion to go back to Sunrise, tell them that we like their price, that they're fixed price, great, thanks, but we want to change or add a delivery point, and we would like to increase the number to, what did we say, 6,000 gallons?
Well, it depends on what you found out from
Yeah.
Heather.
Yeah, I'll add whatever Heather gives us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She
and I
gives
would-
me 1,200, I'll
Yeah, and
increase it 12.
I would look and find out how much we used at the plant.
Not much, most of that's for the generator.
Yeah, that's not running much, but if we can get an idea of what that's running,
Mm-hmm.
you know, just incorporate a few gallons for that as well. I wouldn't incorporate a lot.
It is in there.
I mean,
More.
For
Or
the
more.
other, for the other half a year, we didn't do this until the end of the summer when we put that tank in,
Yeah.
so.
Oh, I see what
there's
you're
another
saying, I
half a
see
year
what
in
you're
there that
saying,
we're
yeah,
gonna need
yeah,
propane.
all right, I got you.
Because that generator runs at least once a week for
Mhm.
X amount of time.
Right. Okay. So,
I'll make the motion that you go back to Sunrise.
okay. And adjust the number of total gallons based on what we received from, school district.
And an increase on what we use for the sewer.
plus sewer. We use some, but we have to put some spin on it to see what it is for a full year. Okay. You made the motion, somebody want to second it?
I'll second.
We have a second from Bob, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Think about this again.
A lot of work for only 2 bids.
You know, we advertised it, but local folks that have called us in the past, or we've done business with in the past, I went out of my way and mailed them proposals.
Yeah, the smaller guys don't want to get in on the bidding business anymore.
I see
It's
that.
too,
It's hard.
it's too risky.
Mhm.
Yeah, it used to be a lot easier. It's just way too risky.
Even over rack, it's risky? I mean, they've got their profit.
Yeah, and it's they don't want to do the calculations and figure that out.
That's basically
That's
the way I
That's what
heard.
we're,
And some of the little guys do not want to get involved in the taxes.
yep, then you gotta take the taxes off.
Yeah, look at Laraway.
He was one of the ones.
Yeah.
Bill said, "You kidding me?" But, all right, we're good. Moving along. All right, we should come back to local law 1 of 2022. If it's agreeable to the board here, I need a motion to close the public hearing. Let me ask, before we do that, does anybody have anything they want to bring up or ask? Hearing none, does anybody on the board want to make a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Now, does anybody want to make a motion to adopt the local law? I don't think we need to do a roll call, because we don't do them at the board.
Sure, I'll make that motion.
We have a motion from Kelly,
I'll second
we
it.
have a second from Carl. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Come on, some more ayes here.
Aye.
Okay. Well, so
You're
carried.
right, I'm not good at that.
Can't talk and at the same time? Okay. There's a process, and I'll get with you, Carrie, on how we do that. Frankly, I have to refresh my memory on it, so. Okay. Couchman House. We talked a little bit about it, but I'm really excited. As you can see, Kim is excited about it, and for good reason. We did have, let me just first say thank you to Bill Rouleau for doing this inspection report. He does this for banks, and he does a lot of work for the county too. I didn't know that. As well as Mike Schiffer?
Yeah,
Uh,
I think Schaefer.
Okay. He also did a floor plan, the first and second. He's got a tool that well, it's not to the millimeter, but it's pretty darn close, which is going to be helpful later on. But let me go back to this inspection report, and I talked about this to at the Historical Society meeting before we met here. And you read through it, but my 3 major takeaways are, number 1, the roof is in much better shape than we had any right to hope it would be. There is no leaks per se through the roof, through a hole or anything like that. There is some water intrusion where the metal roof goes up to the side of the house where it becomes the second floor, where it joins that area. There is some water coming in there. According to Bill, that's not that big of a deal to fix. It's a big deal if you don't fix it. The other spot where we're concerned is the chimney. There's a big stucco chimney, or cement block chimney, that was put on, like Lori's father, as a matter of fact, years ago. And there's a gorgeous fireplace inside, but that chimney is separating from the house. And since I first looked at it 5 years ago, and we had somebody from Mohawk Valley come and take a look and assess it, it's gotten worse. And it's separating from the house, and there is daylight, and you are getting some intrusion by the elements, particularly snow and rain and so forth. That needs to be addressed. And in the back room, which was added later, it may not be original, but it certainly is very good meeting space. I think you guys would agree. It's really open, it's nice, it's sunny. A little too sunny because there's skylights on it, and those skylights are leaking. Yeah, I hate skylights. Every skylight that I've ever seen, friend's house, family's house, always end up leaking. I don't care how good the job they did. But anyway, I digress. The roof is something you always have to do first. I mean, if you don't have a good roof, you don't have anything. The second thing which is needs attention is the electrical. It has 150 amp service, but it hasn't been used in several years. There is signs of corrosion on the box or the panel. Who knows what it, I hope it's all copper. the copper should be resistant to that, but still, it needs, before NYSEG will even talk to us about restoring power, it needs a thorough inspection of everything that's there. Hopefully, that's not going to be a big issue. The other one is going back to the chimney again. It doesn't make sense to seal it between the building and the chimney if it's going to continue to separate. So the options are, do we try to fix it? And according to Bill, though he didn't have the equipment there to do this, it is probably on a foundation that's not that secure. That's one of the reasons why the weight is.
We're not planning on using fossil fuels
Thank you.
for
That's where I was
heating in
headed.
there, tear the chimney down.
Yes. Leave the fireplace. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, but you can put some kind of an insert in that fireplace in order to make it even usable if you want to.
Right. It's an option we can exercise.
You can seal the exit of the fireplace and still, just leave the
Well,
fireplace.
somebody
for
suggested
looks.
put looks or put lights in there or something. I don't know.
There's
Just options.
several options.
Right, cheap options too, really, relatively speaking. So those are the three most important things. Read through it. There's other stuff in here, and I don't want to minimize any of it, but it's frankly not that bad. Now, I don't want to tell you that we can do this for a song, because that's not true. We need to spend significant dollars, and significant dollars are in short supply, particularly with this budget season. So we'll be hoping for some grants, some help from the state, and we're going to have to kick in some dollars ourselves. But it will be a project that we'll work on as we go, setting a priority. If we can pull this off, and I'm not so sure we can, those three items before winter ends, and we have electricity, there's always every possibility we can start working in small parts of the building, just bringing in some space heat before we, plug-in space heat type of deal. But to me, to my way of thinking, those are the most important immediate things. There is one thing also that we need to keep in mind, and we need to address. And again, according to Bill, when I was there, I didn't stay with him, follow him everywhere, but he showed me in the basement, because it's damp down there. It's a dirt floor, by the way, though, the foundation, though, that basement, stone and stucco, is magnificent. It is like the day it was made. There's a lot of, and as they say in the trade, that the house has bones. It really is that good. You look at it and you get scared with all the junk, but that's got nothing to do with the structure, really. But there was so much junk, and the floors are beautiful. Thank you to Kim for volunteering to rip up the carpet. Nobody else, I think, wanted to do it. But great job there. And there's probably at least one more 15, 20-yard container one. But that's something that we'll need to look at, because as I was saying about the basement, the beams that hold it up are fine, but the cross beams, you can stick a pick through it and it goes through because dry rot. You don't have to rip those out. What you need to do is support the cross beams to support them. Not a huge job. The floor needs, it's a dirt floor. He doesn't recommend we do anything different if we're not going to put any heating in there or anything like that. A sump pump, because it does get water.
Oh, yeah.
Big time.
Pumped it out.
I remember after the flood, I pumped out, what's her name's house on the other side of the store, as well as, the Bramos. I opened up the cellar door and water was right up to my toes. So what I would like the board to, well, there's no commitment yet, but I'd like the board to agree that if you agree, I'll go out and get prices on this stuff so we can talk about it. Certainly not going to go out and do work without the approval of the board.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Now the trick is to find people who are interested and willing.
people who will show up and work.
Yes. And you guys got a copy. I'm going to give a copy of this report to Kim for the Historical Society, as promised. Does anybody here have anything I do need to put us in executive session for something that, we'll get into that in a minute. So, but I'm gonna ask the board members if they have anything they want to bring up.
I have nothing.
Okay. So this is what we're going to do then. We're going to go in executive session to discuss a union contract exception. Now that sounds terrible, doesn't it? But it's not, it's actually good. You already know because I sent you an email, but I just want to talk about this in executive session because it is a contractual labor matter. Labor matter. And we'll probably have to vote on it when we come out. But other than that, I don't have anything else planned, other than review the invoices and adjourn. So I need a motion to go into executive session to discuss union contract exceptions. And by the way, that means I gotta ask you guys to leave.
Polite way to say, get out.
I saved it for last, so you didn't have to go out in the rain and come back in. I think you never would have come back in anyway.